a global AppSec strategist at Microfocus, and he's also involved in a lot of projects and initiatives at OWASP, and he is also the member of board of directors. So here, the OWASP Jakarta session welcomes you, Martin, here, and your host, someone as well. So over to you, Martin.
Hi, Simon. Good morning, and good morning to everybody. I hope you can hear me well. Okay.
Yes.
So let's start the presentation right away. So I hope you can see it. It's the small meter in the corner. So this presentation is actually started about a reflection. You know, I'm not 20 anymore. You can see the gray. My beard gets more salt and pepper currently. So that's kind of where I come from. So what I always said, I work at Microfocus currently as a global application security strategist for Fortify. Because before that, before I went to security, I was a developer. Before I was a developer, I actually was a mechanic for injection molding machines. So my life kind of changed, and it was, for me, looking back, was a logical path towards security. So when I went a mechanic, I was, if I may say so, without any modesty, I was a good mechanic, and I know my context. And I went to software development because I just loved everybody had a computer, early 90s. I bought a computer. I did not just want to run programs. I want to change programs. I want to work with them. The computer has to do whatever I want. You know, all know the feeling. So I went to software development, and I was lucky because I was a mechanic. And how you get software development in 2000 just before 2000, there was a big demand of software developers. And I was lucky that I did a test and was allowed to become a professional software developer. I was self-trained, but became a professional. I did that, so I was a software developer, and I become involved in architecture and stuff. Let me just see if there is in the chat I need to know. Okay, so I went to software architecture, and I always had the eagerness to understand and see the others. This was always a drive of mine, to understand things I don't understand. I see something moving, I want to see why it's moving. If I see a robot, I want to know how it works. If I see AI, I know how did it fit machine learning part. This is kind of the never-ending thirst for knowledge and understanding that brought me eventually now to security. And when you are in an area, everything is new, and the first thing is you don't see how big it is, and then everybody knows this. Then you understand how little you know this vast area, whatever you are in. And then it falls all into places. And that's the part when I'm now with more than 25 years as in IT experience. And it's weird, sounds like really long time. So you become the old guy. And even OWASP, I got hooked by OWASP when I first went to a OWASP conference in 2008. So I thought security is important. And I went to OWASP conference. And I think it was the first AppSec, the first OWASP conference called AppSec in Europe. I think it was the second conference, but the first one had a brand mark of being an OWASP conference, AppSec conference. So I went there, and what really hooked me is this: everybody was equal. I was completely new to the area. I just like started and looked around, and I heard people like they worked for an application security for all 10, 15 years. I was like, oh, I didn't know this exists 10 years ago. And everybody was equal. So we all shared. That's what still hooks me in OWASP, is that we are still here and still happy about how we treat new people, experienced people. We all can learn from each other. So you get into security. I mean, in security, you kind of become the urgentness, and you become the feeling like, I am so important. When I'm not here, nobody thinks about security. And no, it is. The company will lose millions. We will get hacked. The world collapse. Sodom, Gomorrah, chaos. Everything will go wrong. And then, my wife said, "I'll go with you, but you promised me holidays, and you have to take me the holiday." So, I think it was in 2012. Yeah, 2012. I agreed, and we took a holiday. and I agreed to a 3 weeks holidays. I never had 3 weeks continuous holidays. I was like, how can I do this? Be away for 3 weeks from my laptop. I was not allowed to bring my laptop. My wife said, "You're cheating because I did everything already with my smartphone." And we took a motorbike trip up to the North Cape, to the north of the Europe. And there's a so vast landscape. And I think some countries where there's also this remoteness, but we have very little left in Europe. So I agreed. We packed the motorbike, no laptop. It was like, really, really bad. And we go driving, and up there in the north, there is no internet, there's no house, there's no location. There's even the regular mobile phone connection sometimes drops. So forget about data connectivity or whatever. So, but when you always think you are important, you have to do this because nobody thinks about security. Security is the most important thing in my life because that's what I focus. It's my passion. I hope the same for you. Everything you think is your passion and everything that becomes more important than everything else. And one thing I learned in this trip is, hey, I came back. There's still the world still related. We still had days and nights. No chaos, no disaster, no riots. Everything was still the same. So how can it be? Is my work unimportant? This was kind of the shock and the feeling like, what happens? And that's something I think what falls in places. And say when you do any sport, when you're young, you're eager, you're fast, but you run, but you're not efficient. But you're young and fast, and you make a lot of movements, and you get there. But when you get older, you see the game, you see development, you see it happening before it really happens. So I played American football, and I'm not the fastest when I stopped this very too old, to 36. I wasn't fast, but you know where to be to stop the play. And the same for security. Very young, you want to solve all the problems. You want to keep all the balls in hand. You want to control, and people don't understand what is going on because you are here. Why is nobody in the world listening to you? And yes, it's good. It's the eagerness we need. But then when you get older, you know, nothing is solved in one day. Just to run in any direction will not solve your problem. To know, understand, to see something coming up and feeling. And this is how actually this talk started, because I went to, back then TEDx was big, and I was very good TED talk. But first, about boxes. So why boxes? The same thing what I have is the eagerness, understanding to understand the others. I changed jobs many times. I moved from the Netherlands to Germany from Germany to the Netherlands in a time when it was a very anti-German culture in the Netherlands. I know how it was different. I worked as a male in an old people home for military service, as extensive military service. So this was so I was the minority because I was the one male in the 2 floors of the old people home. So I know how it's different. But then you realize or you don't realize what the problem is other people experience.
Yo, shit, I could unmute. Nice. Wait, man, you look sexy though, by the way.
Thank you, Nicholas. It will be very disrupting for the rest, I guess. So please. Okay, so I know I always had an eagerness to understand other people. I know how to be different in a different area, how to be different to German in the Netherlands, how to be the unexperienced in a new group. Sometimes I just being the frank German. But this is my box. That's who I am. And then in the early 2000s, I came up this out of the box thinking. I was like, how can I think out of the box? The box is me. It's my experience. It's my DNA. It's whatever I know. It's my feeling, my temperament, my engagement, my boredness at the moment. So how can I think out of the box? And then comes the box of the group. And as I'm self-trained, I have a background, I understood, wait a minute. It's not about my boxing of box. It's widening the box of the group. When you're in a development team and you all have the same background, you just have more of the same box. the box is not getting any bigger. It's just the same box over again. And to extend the variety, the size and the context of the box, is actually adding different boxes to the group. So by having people with different backgrounds, different experience, different age. Mr. Dixon, could you please mute it? Thank you. So by getting all this different background, then there you get different experience and you change yourself. Yeah. So it's being different in age, in background, in gender, in experience. That will eventually extend the group, the box of your group. Yeah. Okay, everybody. I hope they can stay on mute. And now we dive into the next one. So,
sorry, Dad.
What happened? As I said, I watched this TEDx video of Ernesto Ciroli, and it opened my eyes because that actually solved so many questions, gets the answer to many questions I had. So he was already older guy, pardon me, and he tells about his experience as being a young aid worker in the 70s, where he went to Africa. Let me just see the next slide. Sorry for that. Yeah. He went to Africa, to Namibia, and they had to grow vegetables. Because in Italy, apparently they're good vegetables. People in Africa, they're starved, so we need some Italians to go to grow vegetables. It's like the very typical 70s approach and ideas. Like apparently they're not doing this, so they're not good. We are better, so we go there and do it for them. So they grow vegetables, and he has this very nice accent. You really have to watch the movie because you really learn from it, the video. He says in Italy, tomatoes are like this. There, tomatoes were like that because they found a very nice riverbed that's got annually flooded, so very fertile ground, and they grow tomatoes. And just before they could harvest their tomatoes, guess what? The hippopotamus came and ate them all. And he was like, oh my God, hippos! And this man says, that's why we have no agriculture here. It's like, and why did you tell us that? You never asked because you just came in. You know everything better. You just ran and said, that's how we do it. They're like, okay, whatever. They couldn't stop them. And that's an approach that we actively do in security too. We think we see a single problem in the context. So we come with our box thinking. We say, oh, I know this, how to solve this. But did we really? Do we really? Did we really understand the full context and consequences? Have you never had, hey, I can solve this problem? And maybe when you're a coder, you think, oh, I solved this little bug. It's like one bug go, 199 bugs appear suddenly because all the dependencies and in the chain and everything. So this talk is about how to understand the others, and how to work together, not feeding the hippos, not waste energies to something you don't want to waste it at. That's the hippos. Yeah. So don't spend your time, energy, any resource on things, on by effects. That's nice, but it's not solving anything, but solving the cause you're working for. We have to be careful. And everybody has a limited time of money and resources. So be careful with how you spend it. Being burnout, it's a very serious threat in security because guess what? Security problems will always be there. There's not a finite number of problems. It's an infinite number of challenges and problems we have to work on as a team. Mostly in my life cycle or in your lifetime, there always will be security problems. We always will be needed. And that means the world will continue. Yeah. One time I was telling somebody about what I'm doing for a job. So back then I was self-employed. So I go to companies and make them be security aware and security resilient by themselves. So that when I leave, they don't have actually, they should not need me anymore. He's like, how can you maintain this business model? You will not, how you contain and have work? And I said, whenever everything is done, when I'm not needed as security expert anymore, I peacefully will retire. But I'm afraid my retirement comes first. So The first thing is to talk the hippos in those security contexts, the context I just elaborated, can be dangerous because you're spending your effort and time on the things you don't want to spend it on. Yeah. So first I want to tell you about some risk of that and where it comes from, and then let's talk about some solutions. And you see that the pictures in the back of me, it's more a small reminder, maybe hopefully enjoy yourself and keep you up from what we're talking about. The first is security myths. The problem is, as we have the box of security, developers have their own box, project managers have their own box. They have all the myth about security. Yeah, that's the reasons. The myth is why they don't like us, because how they treat in the past, or their experience in the past, they heard somebody saying, hearsay is very important. It's a very serious thing, and we have to continue to tell the right story. Right? Tell something once, it's heard. Tell something repeatedly, it will be understood, it will stick. Security is mean. We always have to say, it's like I'm guilty myself, but I did it for the background, that I have the dark hoodie. It's like this mysterious, mean business, and we cannot show because you have to do security, and otherwise the gods will come down on you. It's like, be relaxed. That's the first thing. Huh? The world will not cease to exist. Security is business. Security is complex and everything. But make sure you don't get burnt out. You have to relax. You have to find something, your happy space you can retrieve to in your mind. And yes, if something goes really, really wrong, definitely when we are younger, we try to run through the walls with our heads. And most walls are more solid than your head. So that will not bring you anywhere. It just gives you a lot of headache. So first thing, security mean business? No. You can not sell anything. Of course, and I had another slide. I know that in India, a lot of rings, the movie is less popular, but there's a very nice one about Gandalf the Grey when he talks to Bilbo Baggins. So first, he's a very kind wizard. That's like what I say. When you're understanding, I want to be the kind, supporting, understanding wizard. But when you are resistant to learn, then you get me, the big dark Gandalf, because then I come up on you. But first, and then when you learned, relax again. Yeah, we say also in the Netherlands, in English, I think we say you catch flies with honey. Yeah, the stick is nothing. Security is expensive. It's a very important one. All the resources, and when you look at, I just short this one. Also, security is complex, and I think this is one of the reasons why security is not that welcomed by developers or project managers. Because project managers, and this makes no difference if it's agile or it has been DevOps from the past and waterfall, whatever you do, a project has to be delivered in time and money. And I know with agile, time is fixed, but the one is not. But when you don't want to waste resources, it's getting the same. Resources and complexity means FTEs, time, and resources on expensiveness, because it has to be expensive. All the tools are expensive. When you do manage a project, you don't want to spend anything that's complex or expensive. So the security is just kind of apart. We try to kind of, we say ostrich, but it's actually ostrich don't do that. It's like put our head in the sand, it's nothing will happen, and they didn't ask for the security, we don't need it. Of course, then in the end, it will bite you even more because you haven't thought about it. But this is a complexity we have to fight. So security to be complex and expensive. And a very good way to solve this is that the proactive security controls for OWASP, because they tell you that the very big, full-blooded security roadmap and minimum critical common criteria or whatever, start at the basic. As I normally say, you start where you are. Everything's out there when you come new to companies. You cannot change the world. You cannot boil in the ocean at once. You have to make it quick wins. Okay. So let's see how we can solve that. How can we go to this happy space of security people where everybody's happy, everybody's friends? Yeah, let's see if we can find them. Again, don't be the mean security guy. Openness and availability. I see many times, even then it's the same building you reside on, and now with Corona it's even worse. But be easy to approach, have open hours, have security hours, security lunch, where people can enter in, just talk to them. Talk to them and listen to them. Yeah, so they can come up to you, they can talk to you. It doesn't have to be security, about the family, about last weekend cricket game or whatever sport you like. Be there, be open, be accessible. When you have your guards down, and I have to learn that with my height, I'm 6'4", and my not kind appearance apparently. When I'm thinking I'm really looking like this, I'm scared of people, and that's something you don't want. So learn from that. Be how call it, approachable. That's very important thing. So people have to come to you. There should be no border, no limit, no everything to address the security. So don't hide in your tower. Go out there, be present. If you have pizza sessions, proactively address them. I think the same thing we tried with OWASP, that we said we had need a developer outreach. When I came to OWASP was founded from and by developers. And then in the 2006, 8 to 10, more and more security companies understood the value, and there were more security companies, kind of took over OWASP. But we have to go back to where we are, why we are here. It's for the developers. For developers to learn, teach, and validate the security of their software, right? So don't hide. Don't wait for them to approach you, but go there. Be visible. I think that's a very important step, that you walk around in the company you employed. When you walk around, people think about security. And it was a very nice feature. This was very interesting. And I first worked at Social T, and security was everything I was breathing and thinking about. And when I walked in, I was like, oh, security is in the room. With a laugh, of course. And that's what you need. So when they think about, oh yeah, there was a security question. And when they think a security question, they think about you. Be there, be the person, impersonate security. Don't hide, be visible. Meet the others. And I know when we all work, and IT people are by default a bit introvert, security people are not better. So see the others. When you see somebody with a nice T-shirt for, I don't know, Kotlin or whatever, have a developer conference T-shirt, maybe Docker or even a geek shirt, I say, hey, that's a cool shirt. Open a conversation, like address them. It's like, what keeps them busy? How you do? Are you doing no project? Be there, step to them. Because if you just say, yeah, I'm here in this chair, nobody comes to me. Yes, of course not. They don't know who you are. They have no business with you. So you have to approach them, not only be approachable, you go towards them. It's very important. It's a very important human factor. So nobody will address you. Definitely not if they are in a group, because it's very hard for many people to step out of the group to go to somebody who's alone. There's nothing about being unpolite. That's just how human nature works. So you have to want to approach them. You have to break into the group, join them, and listen. Pay attention. And I know that for me myself, it has been a very big problem. I had reviews that I can be very overloaded and intention. It's like, okay, I hear a story. Tell me the point. What do you need from me? No, take them apart. Get me in the comfort zone where they can talk and can ask stupid questions. Maybe that, hey, I heard you the last presentation, or I heard the last email. We have to do this or that. I tried, but I don't get it. Take a cup of tea, cup of coffee, take them aside, sit down, and give them the full time and attention they require. Yeah, that's very important. I have to learn it, and I made mistakes in this. Nobody's perfect, and it's not that you give this presentation suddenly you will do everything perfect, but sometimes, and I had it done it too, that I was in a different mindset. I was a bit stressed, and I said somebody like was short, but then I went back to him or her. I said, wait a minute, sorry. I'm sorry. You addressed me, and I had no time to listen to you. Do you have time now? Let's step aside. Let's have a drink. Let's have coffee. Let's have a walk. And of course, now with having walk with this Corona time, it's different. But you have different meeting rooms. And hey, let's meet separately and tell me what you're about. Pay attention. Give them the undivided attention. It's so important. Because then you start to understand the context they live in, what bothers them, the context of their problems. I can say, oh, we need all HTTPS, transport layers encryption. It's mandatory on all servers. And guess what? This is a very heavy problem. It's a very big impact, because when you expect that everything has to be encrypted on transient, With microsystems, what does it mean on delay on your report? What does it mean to have certificates in your whole data center? Do you ever had to do certificate management in an bigger enterprise where you have 2 global data centers? It's not an easy solution. You can demand, like, this is the first of my commands. And everybody will realize, maybe I should look for a different God, because this is a very heavy one. So understand their context, their pain. Something very little you demand of them can be very big, have very big impacts on their side. Yeah, within the context. You can say, oh, I need that level of encryption. Maybe the technology doesn't support it, or maybe it's a dependency. So do not just demand, to listen to where they are. What is their technology, their experience? Hey, you never had threat modeling? Oh, let's talk. What's your application about? Understand what they're living in. And then support. We are like very easy. It's like in the past, in the security has been called the Ministry of No. And it had a name of Ministry of No because the first thing it was like, no, can't do that, security. And what we actually had by this is that nobody will ask security. They will say no anyway. So we just do it. In the business, they will find a way. It's like how people work. It's like, hey, if I'm not going straight way, I go the other way. So when you understand the context, when you listen, you need their support. Think with them for a solution that works for them. Hey, for example, if you see that in your vulnerability management system, this team has very serious error handling problems. It's not like a security problem. It can be a security problem. I look at it, why is that? For example, I come from Java and I had Microsoft, and I was like, Java were very good. There's certain development, how you call it, principles. And one I was very fond of was like, everything that's diverse from the happy flow becomes a exception. And I said, the Microsoft people like, you want to throw exceptions for everything? I'm like, yeah, I can do this in Java because it was very lightweight object. And in .NET, it means a lot of memory is gone. It's like this almost string builder in the Java 1.4. So it's not a solution for them. So understand their context and support them and think with them. It's like, have you thought about that? Because sometimes just asking the right question helps them to come with a solution. Have you ever had it that you walked by somebody and they looked at you, you had a problem, and somebody just walks by like, oh, I can solve this. Just gives you a pointer because you were so much focused, and because we all have the same box and the same experience, the same project, we all look dead in the same direction. And the problem is just an inch off. The solution is just an inch off. So by listening and supporting them, being supportive, understanding, ask the right questions, you understand the context, you can support them. So they know next time, hey, maybe they cannot get the security 100% all the check marks, but they really, really tried. Maybe you give them some benefits for trying. Of course, when they're starting cutting edges, they're like, hey, I can play with security. There is a limit. And appreciate. When they come to you with this new technology, and I have the same problem, say, hey, look, hey, remember when they first came with Java, server-side JavaScript? It's like, no, please. Of course, then they're like, oh, okay, that's not listening. No, it's wrong. They tell you about a new story, and first they don't vision and appreciate. It's like, hey, what do you do? This new cool feature? Oh, I can change whatever. I can do this with the API. Oh, this is so great. Be there so they can tell you. Don't interrupt. Listen and appreciate it. It's like, wow, you build this feature because they put a blood, sweat, and tears in it, and they really, developers try to write secure code. The first thing is to understand they are professionals. And you can remind them that there have to be professionals and they have to be craftsmen. So we have to understand their craftsmanship and the professionalism and appreciate the great thing they build. Because development is a creative art, if they do it right. Yeah? So don't bash like, oh, there's no security in it. I don't know, what have you thought? Not like, oh, wow, cool. Tell me more about it. This is very important because when you appreciate it, people will spill every information. It's easier than you have to pull it and then they hide it from you. And don't upset them. I think the most important thing. Come with rules and not put it on them. Long, threadful security documentations, right? Remember that? That's something we don't need. Sorry, I just checked something. Yeah. Oops, sorry, we went the wrong way. Sorry for that. So don't upset them by being not available. I have seen many times that they don't understand you because they have their own work. They have a project manager breathing into their neck. They have the deadlines to catch. They have the functionality. They have the frustrations. They have everything. And then security comes like, wait, security. This will not help. You really have to go there and appreciate and help them. I have seen many times that there comes somebody, a security team, and I said, where's the security team? They say, oh, they're over there. So what they do? It's like, oh, they do this security black magic. They lock themselves up in a room. They do all kind of security wizardry. And out comes a PDF report. And they look at it and say, oh, nice. We have no idea what's there. We can't understand what a tab napping is. They don't explain it to us. Yeah, if they explain us this, they send us to this website, the wiki page. I can Google it. And it's like, oh, I can example in PHP, but I develop in Ruby Rails. Is this a problem for me? Yeah, cool. Left alone. And then bashing. I have seen it come to many development teams. When I say, oh, the security guy comes, they're like, why? Because they have been hit with the security stick so many times. When you get hit with a stick on the same spot every time, the moment you see the stick, it always starts to hurt. Yeah. So don't take the security stick. And I really appreciate it. I walked to up to a security code review project, and I got there, and they were like, you know, this developer, like the arms fall, lean backwards. It's very defensive. Like, oh, I don't want to be here. Posture. And they say, oh, you come to do security. And I was like, nope, I'm not here to do security. It's like, what do you mean you don't do security? It's like, I do security and I'm the security guy, but what do you expect me to do? Like, you worked with your team on this project for 3 months, 6 months, a year. And should I now sprinkle security on it? What do you think? I can't. Code review. You think I can read all the code you've written in 2 weeks, understand it, and solve the problem? Like, it's your child. It's your baby. You know the ins and outs of this software. So I'm here to help you to increase the quality of your software. And they're like, hey, that's weird. I say, yes. We have all the same purpose to make it more resilient, more robust software. If you are a developer and you are a craftsman, you love quality, and I help you for the aspect of security and resilience. So let's talk about your software. Let's talk about the problems you had and the things you were not able to fix because there was no time or no money. And maybe I can be the external crowbar to help you to fix the problems you had. Because suddenly it has a security mark. And that's a very important thing. Not everything that has to do with security has a security stamp on it. Why? Think about responsiveness, robustness, code quality. A lot of quality issues are not security issues, but they have impact on security. Yeah. So sometimes you have to find partners and joint ventures with testers. I think still, and I preach about that with others more than 10 years, this functional tester, the test and the test automations, those people are neglected for security testing. Isn't it weird with all the CI/CD test automation that we still waste time and reports on cross-site scripting and SQL injections? SQL injections since the 70s. There should not be a way to write an SQL injection. And if there is an SQL injection, it's not the fault of the developer, it's the fault of education. Because why is there not a library, a wrapper to solve the problem. And why does this developer has not been taught this is how we write software? And it's also because I have very times that there's a development team, they have the development guidelines, and there's security, and they put their security guidelines up on the developers. And it's a long policies. And policies are dreadful, long, and boring, isn't it? I learned a lot from a previous manager, and I really appreciate it from Tal Awad. He was a CISO in the company I worked for before. And he had really cool policies because the policy he said is never more than 10 pages. And the most people only read one page. So the first page has to tell you what is the policy about and what are the key things you should learn. And if you don't read the whole policy, that is the thing to stick with you. That's how we should write policy. Yeah? Because nobody will read the whole document. Nobody reads manuals, isn't that? So not even the developers. Yeah? So as Ernesto Ciolini said, if you want to help somebody, shut up and listen. Be beyond them, be with them. But you have to be proactive. Don't expect them to come to you. You have to go to them. Be curious, listening, and give the full attention. We are living, and I did the same thing, we are living in a technology loving area. We think there is a tool for everything, isn't it? Our smartphones. I have a problem, let's download a free app. Of course, we don't read the menu because the app has one purpose. And the attention span, if I don't know how to figure out how this app works in 2 minutes, there must be another one, right? Will I write one myself? There are a few people doing that, but hey, I want to earn money too. So be there, listen to them, have this long-time relationship. Nothing is solved in 5 minutes, nothing is solved in 10 minutes. First, lean back, take them apart. If they engage, if they push up, take them in a very good space. Almost like we always have this shrink idea about a shrink with the bench, right? Take them in a good space. Maybe security should have like this very living room, comfort zone experience. So people can come in, hang out with security. I think that should be a nice one. Have this hangout room where people have a free coffee, drinks, and can exchange. Then we can ask them. So that when they come to you, you trick them towards you with your hospitality. And go there and see them. Maybe you have a better coffee, or maybe you have to better cookies. This will help you more than anything on the tools. The tools is the next part. As I always say, you have to slowly raise the bar. When you come somewhere and there's a security problem, this is the situation as it is. And it can be so terrifying and demanding because we know everything happens. It's like a friend of mine, he's a mechanic for motorcycles. It was in the workplace where I came to my motorbike. And when he goes on vacation, he has like 100 spare parts with him. It's like, why? He said, yes, of course, he is a mechanic for motorbikes. So he hears all this breaks down, that breaks down. Because that's what is his context, his experience, his customer coming back from holidays. Those who come back with no damage, he doesn't heard about it. Let's say for security, we all know, oh, this could go wrong, that could go wrong. And that kind of overtakes our life. You could be like schizophrenic or paranoia with security. But we also have to live. And imagine what? We cannot expect everybody to have the same paranoia as us, right? We need to have non-security people. But we have to help them to understand common sense. And something I just learned recently, common sense comes from education and learning. So you have to educate them so they learn the right thing to come to security common sense. Yeah? So whenever somebody comes up to you in the future, or you can approach them in your company or beyond, and you really want to help, think about this. Think about Ernesto Ciolini. Shut up and listen. Thank you. So far, my presentation. Oh, where I left my. So, yeah, I'm back. Shannon, do we have any questions or do we do something with questions?
Thanks, Martin, for that. And for the live audience, we have any questions? Let me check. I do not see anything in the chat box. Okay, are there any questions from anyone? Okay, in that case, I guess, Martin, we're good then. Thanks a lot. And that was really amazing session, very informative for me as well. So really thank you for that. And hope you have a good day today.
Okay. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks for your time and attention. And maybe I meet you in in person, real life again after COVID, eventually somewhere next year, the year after. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you. Bye-bye.